Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Wednesday, March 7th, 2018. The weather has been pretty calm for the last few days following a pretty intense storm that moved through the Great Basin over the last weekend. The image on the left shows the snowfall over the past 72 hours, which really just reflects some of the precipitation that was late with this storm in the Sunday to Monday timeframe. Current snow depth is shown on the right, with the deepest snow depth over the mountains of central Idaho and western Wyoming. And some of the higher elevations of Utah are showing a little bit of higher snow depth in the 30 to 40 up to 50 inches. Even though we've had some pretty significant storms over the last week to 2 weeks, current snowpack is still below normal for much of Nevada and Utah. Further north and east over Idaho and western Wyoming, the snowpack values are closer to normal. As we move into the spring months, we'll continue to see storms move into the Great Basin, but the precipitation will transition to more of a rain-snow mix, especially at the lower elevations, and we'll continue to see some snow at the higher elevations, but this again will transition to rain over the next few weeks to months. This morning's satellite imagery shows a weak high pressure in place across the Great Basin, leading to warmer temperatures region-wide with generally sunny skies, especially over the eastern portion of the area. We do see another area of low pressure setting up off the west coast. This area of low pressure will move into the Great Basin and bring precipitation starting Thursday across the west and moving east on Friday. The ventilation index for this afternoon is not looking really great, as we're in kind of a stagnant pattern right now. We have light transport winds across much of the geographic area with low mixing heights, and that's contributing to those lower ventilation rates. By tomorrow, we'll begin to see some of the moisture from that area of low pressure move into the northern half of the geographic area and even into the northwest portion. So we'll see the ventilation rates increasing in those areas, but still remain fairly low across much of Nevada and Utah. By Thursday, we'll see those stronger winds moving into just the northwest quadrant of the region, with lighter winds across much of Utah and Nevada, and those mixing heights will still remain low across Utah and Nevada. On Friday, we'll begin to see some of that moisture move further south through the Great Basin into Utah and Nevada. And ventilation rates will be improving across these regions as well. The strongest winds will remain to the north and east on Friday, with some of the higher mixing heights in those areas as well. The forecast for Utah's clearing index is shown here with fairly low values for today, increasing to some extent across the south on Thursday, and then by Friday those values should be pretty favorable for burning conditions across central and eastern Utah. The 3-day precipitation totals are shown on this image, with the precipitation mainly remaining over the mountains of central Idaho and western Wyoming and peeking into the far northwest corner of Nevada in just the next 3 days. This takes us through early Saturday morning. By Saturday, we'll see the moisture kind of swinging across the south. Ventilation rates will be fairly good over Nevada and a little bit lower over Utah and Idaho. By Sunday, that moisture will remain in place across the far south, with some drying further north, and ventilation rates will be decreasing across mainly Idaho and portions of Utah, and remain somewhat favorable still over western Nevada. On Monday, the high pressure continues to strengthen over the Great Basin for warming temperatures region-wide. The ventilation index remains favorable over Utah and much of Nevada, with lower values across the north. This pattern continues into Tuesday, although we may see a little bit more mixing across the region, increasing the ventilation rates area-wide. Another area of low pressure sets up off the Pacific coast, which will likely bring another round of showers to the Great Basin sometime moving into next week. The precipitation accumulation for days 4 and 5 is shown here. This takes us through Saturday afternoon through Monday. The bulk of the precipitation will be across the southern portion of the Great Basin and into the southwest U.S. as that storm track dives across the south. The extended forecast from the Climate Prediction Center is calling for below normal temperatures across much of the western U.S., with above normal chances for precipitation across the west, particularly over California and Nevada and western portions of Utah. This concludes today's smoke dispersion briefing. Please check back on Friday for the latest updates.